At 2:47 a.m., Antonio Lucchese woke to find his maid standing over his bed holding a kitchen knife. She wasn't there to kill him. She was there to save his life. "They're already inside," she whispered. 6 men. "They cut the cameras 3 minutes ago." He reached for his gun. It wasn't there. Someone had moved it while he slept. And the only person with access to his bedroom was the trembling woman before him, the one he'd never bothered to learn the name of. Antonio Lucchese controlled half of New Jersey. 43 years old, silver hair, eyes like frozen lakes. Men crossed streets to avoid him. Judges took his calls. Politicians attended his daughter's birthday parties. His mansion sat on 8 acres, protected by cameras, guards, and a reputation that made most enemies reconsider. But tonight, something felt wrong. He'd returned home late from a meeting in Newark. His regular driver had called in sick, so a replacement brought him. Small thing. Probably nothing. His head of security, Marco, had swept the house twice. Clean. His maid, Rosa, had left dinner under warming lights. Chicken, potatoes, vegetables he wouldn't eat. Rosa had worked for him 6 years. Quiet woman, maybe 50, grey streaks in her black hair. Guatemalan, he thought. Or Salvadoran. He'd never asked. She cooked, cleaned, disappeared into background silence. Invisible labor. Antonio ate alone, showered, checked his phone. Business as usual. He placed his Glock on the nightstand, set his alarm, closed his eyes. Then he woke to steel against moonlight and Rosa's terrified face. "What are you doing?" Antonio's voice came out deadly calm. Rosa's hand shook so hard the knife rattled. "Please, senor. Listen. 6 men. They came through the east gate. They killed Miguel. Miguel was the night guard. Young kid, 22, saving for college." Antonio sat up slowly. "You're lying. I saw them." Her accent thickened with fear. "I was cleaning the guest house. I saw them on the cameras before they cut the feed. They move like soldiers. They have silencers. They're coming for you now." "Where's Marco?" "Dead. They got him first. In the security room." Antonio's chest tightened. Marco had been with him 15 years. "Why should I believe you?" Rosa's eyes filled with tears. "Because I moved your gun. I hid it. If you shoot now, they'll hear. They'll know you're awake. You'll die." His hand flew to the nightstand. Empty. Rage flooded him, then calculation. "Where is it?" "Safe. But first, you listen." Antonio had killed men for less than this. But something in Rosa's face stopped him. Pure terror. Not of him. Of something worse. "Talk fast." "They're professionals," Rosa whispered. "I heard them on the radio. They're clearing the house room by room. They think you're asleep. They want it quiet. No alarms. No witnesses." "How long?" "Maybe 3 minutes before they reach this hallway." Antonio's mind raced. The bedroom had 2 exits. Main door and a bathroom that connected to the hall. Both would be covered if these men were smart. And if they'd killed Marco, they were smart. "My phone. They're jamming signals. I tried to call police. Nothing works." He studied her. Rosa, who he'd never really seen. Who served meals and washed blood from his shirts without questions. Who knew his schedule, his habits, his vulnerabilities. "You could have run," he said. "Yes. Why didn't you?" She met his eyes. "Because you have a daughter. And these men, they don't care about little girls." The mention of his daughter, Sophia, changed everything. She was 8, staying with her mother this week. Safe. But Rosa was right. Men like these, they didn't leave loose ends. "How do you know so much?" Antonio asked. "I grew up in war, senor. Guatemala, the death squads. I know what killers look like. How they move. How they think. She set the knife down. I also know what men like you keep in your houses. Weapons. Escape routes. You have a panic room, yes. He did. Behind the bookshelf in his study. Reinforced steel, satellite phone, enough supplies for 3 days. We'll never make it, he said. It's 2 floors down. There's another way. Rosa moved to his closet, pushed aside suits, revealed a small service panel. Laundry chute. It goes to the basement. From there, tunnel to the garage. Antonio stared. He'd lived here 9 years and never knew. How? You don't see people like me, senor. We see everything. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Soft, careful, professional. They were out of time. Rosa grabbed his arm. Now. Move now. Antonio squeezed into the chute. Tight fit. He slid down in darkness, landed hard on concrete. The basement. Cold, full of pipes and shadows. Rosa dropped seconds later. Lighter, quieter. Above them, his bedroom door exploded. Muffled gunfire. They were shooting his bed, his pillows, where he should have been sleeping. This way. Rosa ran through the basement like she'd memorized every inch. Past the furnace, the storage room, to a wine cellar Antonio visited twice a year. She pulled a bottle, Chateau Margaux 1995. The rack swung open. A tunnel. Narrow. Dirt-walled. You knew this was here? I found it cleaning. I never told you because men like you keep secrets. I thought you knew. They ran. The tunnel stretched 50 yards, ended at metal stairs leading up. The garage. Antonio's collection of cars sat gleaming under motion lights. Ferrari, Bentley, Escalade, all useless. Keys were in the house. Here. Rosa pulled keys from her apron. My Honda. Parked outside. They climbed into Rosa's ancient Civic. It smelled like vanilla air freshener and old coffee. Antonio had never ridden in anything so cheap. The engine coughed to life. Drive to the police, he said. No. Rosa pulled onto the dark street. These men, they have police radios. They'll know. We go somewhere they don't expect. Where? My apartment. 20 minutes. They won't look there. Antonio's instincts screamed. Trust no one. But his instincts had also missed 6 killers in his house. Rosa was still alive, which meant her instincts were sharper. They drove in silence. Antonio watched mirrors. No headlights following. Yet. Who sent them? Rosa asked quietly. I don't know. You have enemies. Dozens. Who wants you dead most? Antonio thought. Vincent Calabrese, his old partner. They'd split badly 2 years ago. Or the Russians. Or the Albanians. Or any number of people he'd betrayed, threatened, destroyed. Everyone, he finally said. Rosa nodded like she'd expected that answer. Rosa's apartment was in Union City. 3rd floor walk-up, peeling paint, the smell of cooking from a dozen cultures mixing in the stairwell. She unlocked 3 deadbolts. Inside was clean, small, simple. A couch. A TV. Pictures of children Antonio assumed were grandchildren. Rosa bolted the door, pulled curtains. Sit. I'll make coffee. Antonio sat, feeling absurd. Hours ago he'd been untouchable. Now he was hiding in his maid's apartment, wearing pajamas, no weapon, no security, no control. Rosa returned with instant coffee in chipped mugs. She'd changed into jeans and a sweater. Without the uniform, she looked different. Stronger. I need to make calls, Antonio said. Not yet. They'll trace your people. Anyone you trust, they've already thought of. Then what? We wait until morning. Then we move smart. She sipped her coffee. You're thinking I could betray you. Turn you in. Collect a reward. The thought crossed my mind. I could have let them kill you. Why didn't you? Rosa was quiet for a long moment. Because you helped my son once. Antonio frowned. I don't know your son. 3 years ago. He was arrested. Selling marijuana. Small amount. He's not a criminal. Just stupid. Broke. The prosecutor wanted to make an example. 5 years minimum. Antonio remembered nothing. Someone spoke to the prosecutor. Charges dropped. My son got probation, community service. He's in college now. Studying engineering. Rosa met his eyes. I know it was you. My supervisor, she told me you made a call. You didn't have to. You don't even know us. But you did it anyway. Antonio vaguely recalled. A favor for someone. He'd made a call, pressured a prosecutor. Easy thing. He'd forgotten it immediately. That's why, Rosa said simply. You saved my boy. Tonight I save you. Antonio felt something unfamiliar. Shame, maybe. Or gratitude. He'd done a small thing without thinking. Rosa had risked her life. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For what? For never asking your name. Your real name. She smiled sadly. Rosa Maria Gutierrez. Pleased to meet you, Senor Lucchese. Morning came grey and cold. Antonio called his lawyer from a burner phone Rosa kept for emergencies. 30 minutes later, 4 trusted men arrived. Not his usual crew. Cousins from Boston. Clean. Unknown. They swept Rosa's apartment for bugs. Found none. Made secure calls. The news was bad. Marco. Dead. Miguel. Dead. 2 other guards. Dead. The house. A crime scene. Police investigating. FBI asking questions. Antonio's daughter was safe. His ex-wife had her in a hotel under protection. Who ordered it? Antonio asked. His cousin, Frank, shook his head. Everyone's denying. But word is, it was Vincent. Hired a team from Chicago. Expensive. Professional. They're in the wind now. Vincent Calabrese. Antonio had known, deep down. Old grudges always came due. What now? Frank asked. Antonio looked at Rosa, standing in her kitchen, watching these dangerous men fill her home. She'd asked for nothing. Expected nothing. First, Antonio said, we make sure Rosa and her family are protected. Set them up somewhere safe. New house. New city if they want. Full security. Frank nodded. Done. Antonio dealt with Vincent 3 days later. Quick. Quiet. Permanent. Details don't matter. What matters is what he learned. Rosa had saved his life because he'd saved her son. A small kindness he'd forgotten had created a debt she'd repaid when it mattered most. The maid he'd never noticed had seen everything. Known everything. And chosen to act when others would have run. Antonio set Rosa up in a house in Pennsylvania. Paid off. Safe. Her son got a scholarship fund. Her daughter, a job. Her grandchildren, college accounts. She visited sometimes, brought food, asked for nothing. Antonio learned to see people he'd ignored. The waiters. The drivers. The cleaners. Not because he became good, but because he understood power's real source. It wasn't fear. It wasn't money. It was the invisible people you dismissed, the ones who saw your vulnerabilities while you saw nothing. Years later, when someone asked Antonio his greatest mistake, he said, thinking I was safe because I was powerful. And when they asked his greatest fortune, he smiled. A maid who knew me better than I knew myself.